Hey guys, it's Danny back with another episode of the Swim Good podcast. And tonight we have a special guest representing the male perspective, Eric. So he'll be here kind of giving us a different element to our normal deep dives. And tonight we're going to discuss episodes 8 and 9 together. In the last week, a lot has been going on. And, I just needed a break. But I would be remiss if we did not talk about episode 8. I mean, it was such a good episode. So with that, we are going to get into Insecure Season 4, episodes 8 and 9. So I asked the first question, Eric.
Okay.
What do you think about the Issa and Lawrence conversation? Was it necessary, and are you surprised that they had it?
I feel like it could have gone one or two ways. It could have brought up some things and left some wounds raw, or it could have provided closure. And I feel like the way the episode went, it provided closure to a chapter of Issa and Lawrence's relationship.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like a lot of times when relationships end or like have a blow up, or even if they just kind of fade, it's like a lot is left unsaid. There are some sour feelings, and for some, like if it's like a really big blow up, sometimes you don't really need closure. I used to always say, like, once it's over, like that's the closure, or you got the closure before the relationship ended, because all those reasons why it wasn't working before it just kind of imploded or exploded were already there. The writing on the wall.
Writing on the wall, maybe, but it's two people in the relationship. And if you're talking about real, solid, positive closure, then both people need to feel that way. And usually when there's a blow up, at least one person is feeling a little unsettled. It's like when you are out and about and someone says something crazy to you and you decide to ignore it, and then when you get home you're like, you know what I should have said? I should have gone in. And that's how you feel when a relationship like that blows up. At least one person is like, I coulda, woulda, shoulda said something.
But you know what? I feel like sometimes, like, we know that Issa and Lawrence, it's been a year since they broke up. I think that's a fair amount of time to, kind of come back and have the conversation within like a safe zone. But I feel like most people want closure too soon, and then what ends up happening is you fall back into the relationship, and you have not had enough time to grow, gain perspective, wisdom, to be better or different people or more evolved, and it's just a mess. It's like a hella messy situation.
I mean, you got to remember, they went through their mess though. They were upset at each other. They were throwing all types of stuff at each other, and then they went their separate ways and did their own thing. So
yeah,
that happened.
But they also have their friend group, their core friend group, that actually kind of keeps them sort of orbiting around each other, which isn't always. I guess it's common. But
no, you're going to lose some friends.
A lot of times people choose sides.
Yeah,
when there's a breakup, people choose sides. Friends choose sides. And so you have to, in order to kind of keep it pushing forward. Otherwise, it just gets messy. So I'm also glad that they had it. Am I surprised that they had it? I mean, after that, Condola kind of stepped into Lawrence. Like, I mean, y'all got all these little jokes. Maybe I have something to worry about. During like the Thanksgiving episode, I think we kind of could see like that Lawrence felt that that he was able to kind of see within himself, like, maybe we should talk. Maybe I did kind of walk away too soon. Let's keep it moving. So what do you think about happiness being a choice? Issa and Lawrence walked through the art walk. If you remember that scene with the pretty clouds and all the art. And they just kind of started talking about happiness and are they happy? And Issa had her perspective, which is, that she's feeling pretty good. She kind of came to the understanding that she really believes it's a choice, and that every day she's kind of making this choice to be happy, and Lawrence is kind of getting there.
Yeah, I think both of them allowed the other person's current state to affect their happiness. So when Lawrence was on the couch and in his funk, that affected Issa's happiness. And Lawrence, kind of mentioned in episode 8 that when she would get up every day and go to work and show how much, in comparison, how much less he was doing with his life, that affected his happiness. And so they had to separate in order to figure out how to make themselves happy in order to come back in episode 9 and be happy together. So yeah, I absolutely believe that happiness is a choice. I believe that it is something you foster in yourself and then can provide a safe space for those around you to be happy with you. Because when you're not happy with yourself, you will make everybody around you miserable.
Interesting. Do you, like, I kind of look at it, I do think that happiness is a choice. And as much as I enjoy seeing Issa and Lawrence together, I also think they were already kind of going on a path to be happy separately. Yeah. Like, I don't really think that they need each other to be happy even now. Like, I think, because ultimately, like, if Condola wasn't in their lives, and I say theirs because essentially she, like, brought them back together, right? Like, if she wasn't there, and it was someone else, like Lawrence, I feel like Lawrence tries to make whatever woman he's around fit, like he will do whatever to adjust to make it fit, because he's the
type that really wants to be happy in a relationship. He wants to settle down. He wants that loving relationship with that one person. Yeah. He's a caring individual and he wants someone to care for. So
is he caring, or does he have a bit of, like, I feel like either Lawrence could be like codependent, or he's just like a giant romantic and he doesn't see his life as complete until he's hit certain milestones. And I think similar to Molly pre-Andrew, where she just kind of looked at, okay, work, I have to hit this milestone, I need to be on the partner track, and then I need to have the boyfriend, and we have to be like about to get married. Like, it just seems like it's a list thing for them.
I think everybody,
and a lot of people
have a list. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, I think that Lawrence, it does have a caring piece to him. There may be some truth to the fact that he is less aware of what makes him happy, and so he is trying to just bring somebody in to fit the mold, or to fit the mold for somebody. And you can tell, because in the Thanksgiving episode, he's like, I'm gonna show up, I got the dish, I got the shirt, I got the plumbing tools,
that shirt.
I got everything in order to make myself fit into your space and your friends. I'm trying to integrate now. So he was doing too much to some degree, but Condola hadn't had that conversation. That's one thing that's apparent, is that they hadn't actually had, where are we going with this type conversation.
No.
It was just, this works, this is fun.
But he was already thinking that they were more. Okay, so at the end of episode 8, Lawrence shows Issa his new place. We kind of, once Issa gets into the house, it's like the tension is so thick, right? Like, everybody knows.
When they were in the taxi,
we know,
I was like, she's going to end up in that house and they are going to end up with a situation. She was like, your house probably looks garbage. He was like, bet.
But I think that was all flirty, just anecdotal kind of stuff. Like, I think it was just like, I think all of that was to say, are you going to invite me up? And him saying yes. Like, I don't even think she really thought, like, he was going to be living, like, in a crappy place. But
I can
understand,
I'm just saying,
like,
it was set up to get, to set it up.
for me, when Issa turns around and just says, you know, what if I don't want to what if I want to stay, and just kind of admits that the night isn't over for her, or she doesn't want to end the night. Like, that was just, I was so proud of her. Like, I feel like,
round of applause.
Yeah, like, I feel like all of us were just kind of like, there's like that meme of like the girl from like an American's Next Top Model contestant where she's just crying and like whooping. Like, I feel like we were all collectively like crying and whooping, like, yes, you know, because it just felt like our little Issa just had grown up and sort of fully blossomed into, you know, being a grown woman and just kind of stepping up and taking a risk. Because real talk, Lawrence was kind of...
He was iffy the whole episode.
He was iffy the whole night. I mean, they were obviously
He
vibing,
literally walked away. It was a joke, but he
Condola
literally walked
like,
away like the night's over.
Yeah. And Condola was just like heavy in his mind. And so he just seemed... Although you could tell he was like enjoying his time and enjoying the night and enjoying Issa, like that Condola was at the back of his mind. Like, he just wasn't fully there. And so we just really didn't know which way this was going to go. And Issa just really shooting her shot, like the way that she did, was, I think, empowering, but it was also a huge risk for Issa. And sort of, I'm kind of jumping to the end of the episode where she kind of has her walk that's not a walk of shame, but a walk of empowerment the next morning. And she has like that blue shirt with like the blooming flower woman on it. And it's just like, you know, that could have been a completely different feeling for her if he had been maybe a little bit more hesitant. He was still a little hesitant, you know, or if he had just kind of flat out said like, I got something to do. I don't know. The love making scene was like emotional for me because I feel like since we met them as a couple, they were sort of already in their negative space. They were, you know, Issa was already trying to break up with Lawrence from the first episode.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you don't realize that you've never actually seen them vibe until this season.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like when they were, even previously, maybe episode 4 or 5, when they're doing the witty banter in the cafe before Condola shows up, when they're doing their whole like the warm identity, the born identity.
Oh my god, that was
like,
so cute and corny.
It was corny as hell, but you can tell that they have history. They know each other.
They know each other
like
so
they're
well.
really they can be in each other's minds, finish each other's sentences,
Yeah.
and you don't get any of that until this episode,
Right.
and it ramps up to it in the season, but until this episode, you realize that these two are meant to be together. And they kind of figure that out too. They're still a little bit hesitant, but they're also very much like, I'm going to be present. Because he took the first risk by asking her to come and meet him for dinner and saying, I want to have this conversation. What do you think would have happened? So he opened the door to her saying, can I stay?
He did, but... I mean...
But I ain't gotta be a butt.
I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like they were getting there anyway. Like, he had said to Issa, when they were at Tiffany and Derek's place, he pulled her outside and said, I wanted to talk to you about something.
Right.
So that was like 3-4 episodes ago at this point.
But you got to think about which episodes
so
occurred. We still
has been waiting for him to just say it because she got pulled away from that conversation.
Exactly. She has not been waiting. She has been busy. There's a difference. If she was like, oh, I really need to figure out what you're saying.
She's like,
because she left that conversation. She left that conversation.
Yeah, but okay. But the next episode, then she runs into Condola, disappearing Condola, and Condola says to her, Lawrence and I broke up. So if you don't, we didn't see Issa like being like, why hasn't Lawrence told me this happened? But I think that once she realizes that Lawrence and Condola broke up, then she's like, well, what did he want to talk to me about? Was he just going to tell me that they broke up, or did he want to talk to me about something else? Because did he have to really tell her?
Well, let's
Not
think about
really.
timeline, though, because when she finds out she's at the block party, right?
Yeah.
Then the next episode is basically like the next day, isn't it? Because she hadn't checked her Facebook yet, right? She was still in her feelings about the night before the blow up at the block party.
Yeah.
The episode after that, Molly's on vacation. So Lawrence is just out of town at this point. So she probably knows that he's out of town.
But how long?
And he gets
you
back.
know,
I think
insecure
only about
timelines are like mad
exactly.
slow. It's
So
been
I
like
think
a week,
only about
maybe 2 weeks.
I don't even think it's been that long. I think maybe a week has passed between
I think it's probably like 2 weeks.
the time she figured out that when Condola tells her, and then they catch up again. I think it's been about a week. So it's not
more.
like so much time that
Yeah.
it's egregious. I just think that I do feel like he took the risk, right? He was dropping little hints here and there, talking about he told her I bought the ring, right?
Oh,
like
right.
he's like,
He said that real smooth. I mean, he could have. I don't know. He
definitely did it
could've-
in like a safe space. Like I don't have to have
Like
a
with
conversation
somebody
about
else.
this. Exactly,
Yeah.
someone else is there.
I saw a lot of people on social media like, "Oh my god, he brought a ring!" But in season one or season 2, he told Chad that he bought her a ring.
Right.
So that wasn't really new information, but I
It's
understand.
new
Like,
to her.
yes, it was new to Issa, but like, yeah. So anyway, let's talk about episode 9. So what were your initial thoughts at the top of episode 9 when Lawrence and Issa are vibing at Lawrence's? It was just more beautiful, just love, which is what we need right now. Just
I know.
seeing
It's
black
good to see
love
black
and
love.
black joy. Just, yeah.
They
we
just
needed that.
kicking it. They're just being regular. They're just doing like.
They're not regular, though. They're better than regular.
No, I mean like it's just they're having a good time
Yeah.
with regular activities because you see them
Right.
sit next to each other on the laptops. You see
Working.
them watching a movie. You see
Yeah.
them, like you can tell that they are just living their regular daily activities and in sync with each other at the same time.
Yeah, but with the extraness of being sort of
Falling back in love with each
newly
other.
falling back
Yeah.
in love. I wonder, do you think that they think that they're falling in love? Or, like, if you come back from, like, a breakup, is it like, okay, we're just back in love? Or is it they're this falling in love? You know, like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you
I
think
that
they're falling
way,
in love or they're just showing love?
I don't know if I can
been a
answer
year.
that question in general, but I think in regards to Lawrence and Issa, because they are new people coming together, then they are falling in love with each
All
other
over again,
all
yeah.
over again. So
Fair. Okay. Molly's back in therapy. Finally, right? Like, it's been, I feel like we haven't seen her therapist since season 2. If I have that correct. What I got from Molly is that she's uncompromising as hell. Here's the thing. I know that y'all, I'm talking about the listeners, y'all hate Molly or just like are very annoyed by her. I don't like think Molly's wrong all the time. I'm not surprised that a person like Molly, who she's an attorney, right? Like, although we don't see Molly in court, what is she? She must be like a contract lawyer or something. But I feel like she's just used to kind of being argumentative and probably a little bit uncompromising at work, like as just part of her career. So I'm not altogether surprised that she's that way in her personal life. But in terms of Issa, because it almost seems like Molly is she sees all of the problems that are happening right now as Issa being the center of those things, or Issa being sort of like the jump off of all these other issues. But Issa had nothing to do with her drama with her dad. Issa had nothing to do with Andrew's brother, Victor. I mean, you could say that Molly was already tense, and so, like, you know, she kind of popped off because she hadn't let those feelings out, really. But is Molly right to be so uncompromising? Do I have the right word? Or what do you think?
I mean,
you can answer on your
yes, she is uncompromising. She wants what she wants, and she's got to have it. I think that, on most fronts, she has been able to grow this season, right? With, even though she doesn't tell Issa, I'm taking what you're telling me in and I'm going to act on it. Like the top of the hill when they were hiking, girl, do you want to be happy? And then she ends up taking the call from Andrew and being softer in her reaction to him in that moment. And there are other couple scenarios, but when it comes to Issa post blow up, she is 100% of the belief that Issa is the only one at fault. And she says that even in episode 9 to her therapist, like, no, she is wrong. And
I do think Issa was wrong.
Again to Andrew as
Issa
well.
was wrong, but Molly. But at the end, I don't see. I think my struggle with Molly is, yes, Issa was wrong, and you have every right to be upset about it, but to essentially not be able to stop your feelings for 1 second to kind of check your surroundings, like to not mess up something that's so important to Issa. It's like, to me, it's one and the same. It's like you were upset, and so like Molly's relationship is her baby right now, so she's upset that Issa kind of found a way to get around her boundary. Fine, you're allowed to be upset. Issa also is allowed to be like, where the hell did this boundary come from? I don't understand it. I'm in a bind. It's selfish, but she did it, right? Did she do it? Like, Molly's whole thing was like, you stabbed me in my back. I don't think it was that dramatic, because Issa did, like, she was still sneaky about it, but she didn't sort of directly disobey Molly. She sort of indirectly did it, right? And I think that at the end of the day, Molly's, blowing up Issa's event at the end, and then also really charging up on Issa like they're about to physically fight. Like, to me, when we're friends, best friends, and we fight, we can fight, but you're not going to call me out of my name. Their thing is different because they use the B word and the N word all the time, back and forth. But with my friends, I don't do that. So we can say B maybe a little bit, but if you're mad at me, don't say anything but my name. Because anything but my name is going to ratchet up the situation. The feeling is going to heighten the feelings, the intensity, and definitely don't kind of like enter into my personal space when we're not good. Because if you do those things, then I think that you don't care about me, and it's a wrap. It's like we can't go anywhere. So I feel like Molly, at the very least, should be apologizing for posting up on Issa like she was really about to fight her, like Issa was some girl on the street, and also for like for having that conversation at that at that kind of energy level during Issa's like most important event that she had been working towards for months.
That's the outside looking in. Okay. But if you step into Molly's shoes, she's not thinking just about the block party blow up. She's thinking about what caused the block party blow up and everything that happened prior to that. You can tell in almost every scene this season with Molly and Issa, Molly's pure disappointment with how Issa handles.
That's true.
Their interactions.
But she chose not to address it when they had time. She chose not to address it when they had the time to do so.
And that's true. I mean,
like,
that's
all those self-care
Sundays,
Molly could have addressed it. She purposely, that one time when Issa made an off-color comment about Andrew, like, about Molly just not wanting to be happy, and then Andrew calls her and Molly pretends like it's a work call. Like, she could have easily said to Issa, like, actually, he apologized to me, you were wrong, like, and it could have been cool, you know.
I completely
But
agree.
she didn't.
I'm just saying that Molly is built to hold grudges. She can't help it. That's who she is, however she is, whatever caused her to be that way is she's holding grudges against everybody. And you can tell it with her dad. Like, her therapist listed it out with her dad, Andrew's brother, Andrew originally, with Issa, with Dro, with Nathan. You don't even know Nathan. You holding it against him. And so she cannot help the way she reacts to people because she doesn't realize how much she's holding on to these grudges, and she doesn't know how to unwind them because Molly is built to be wound up.
Well, they're all having... Okay, so Nathan and Issa meet up for Issa to help him move. Can we just talk about, like, why is a woman helping a man move? Like, what?
He asked her specifically because he wanted her in his new space. He's like, I want Issa energy around me.
I was just like, I can't believe
he didn't ask for help moving. He had help unpacking. So that's a slight nuance.
Yeah, I guess women would probably be better at unpacking shit.
But at the end of the day, it wasn't even about the packing. It was a reason, like, I got a new space. It's going to be my space. This might be the opportunity for us to get back on that horse I dropped.
6 months ago.
6 months ago.
Yeah, right.
So he was a little bit foolish in his expectation there. Yeah. But I'm proud of Issa just being like, I don't know where this is going, but it ain't going where you think it's going if I think you think it's going there.
Issa and Nathan, what do you... I'm not gonna lie. Before Lawrence was sort of solidly in the picture, I've been feeling like Issa and Nathan could make it work because I think that we all kind of felt like the issues that he was going through were mental health based. Everybody knew that. We just didn't know specifically what it was, whether it was depression, whatever. In this episode, we find out that it is actually bipolar. They don't say bipolar 1 or They don't say bipolar 1 or bipolar 2, but...
most people don't know what that is.
The difference, but listen, there is a difference, okay? There's a difference in intensity, and it's helpful to know which one you're dealing with, but what do you think just about... And I want to briefly, because we still have like a few more things to discuss, a few major things happen in the episode. I'll just say, like, for me, like, as much as I like the energy that Issa and Nathan have, I just like that he supports her, that he's always kind of pumping her up, and especially when she doesn't have Molly right now to do that, and her other girlfriends are kind of out of the scene. MIA.
What's up with Kelly?
I think Kelly's really busy helping Tiffany, like, get her life. So I hope that they do I hope that they do explore that issue more deeply next episode. I mean, it took them a while to even disclose that that Nathan was bipolar, the writers I'm talking about.
Right.
But so I do hope that they come back to Tiffany. But I'm just trying to figure out, is the energy that Issa and Nathan have, is it friendly? Like, is it more friends? Or is it because they're a man and a woman that is like, you know, that we think it should be romantic?
Super honest. I don't see it. It was fun, you know, like, she needed someone chill to just, like, help her get out of her own head. That's what he provided for her. But in terms of, like, a long
and move on from Daniel.
Right. And well, I think it was move on from the crazies, right? She was having a lot of fun with a lot of people before Nathan was in the picture.
Yeah. But I feel like Daniel was more, he was just there, but yeah.
Well, she
gave a lot of attention to Daniel when she really didn't need to only because not to Daniel's fault or anything. I think he was a nice guy, but I just don't really. How can I don't know. I don't want to go down the Daniel hole.
That was a lot of mess. I'm just saying that like she was at a space where she was kind of all over the place. He helped to center her and ground her and just give her some nice vibe energy. Mm-hmm. That was that. In the totality of it. And maybe this is only because...
simplifying this. Like, he wasn't, like, really, like, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Like, do it.
No, exactly. But that's what I mean by grounding her. By giving her a sense of self.
Yeah.
A sense of self-worth.
I mean, you could say he's, like, partially responsible for new Issa. I mean, responsible. That's a lot. That's putting a lot on him.
It's just a factor. It's just one piece. There were lots of things. She had to execute in order to be new Issa, right? There's
because
ideas and
there's
there's execution.
Couldn't do that for her.
No,
like,
exactly.
None of her friends really supported new Issa.
But my point is, I don't see Issa and Nathan as a long-term match.
Yeah,
because I don't think that their energies long-term.
Let me not. Yeah.
I don't think that their energies long-term exist in the same space, right? Especially when you put the Lawrence and Issa pair against the Lawrence and Nathan pair, right?
If you, I sort of agree, because that Issa Lawrence dynamic is just so bomb. But I think I would be remiss if I didn't address, like, if we go back to Coachella. And maybe the episode before that, because we haven't seen Issa we have not seen Issa and Nathan be romantic, but their romance is also next level. They don't have the same, like, jibber jabber kind of energy back and forth.
That's why I said long term. I'm not talking about like them just.
But when they are, the sparks are there. There is something there, and if you could just see like even after Issa, in a very grown woman way, says to Nathan, me and my ex started seeing each other. He says to her, I really appreciate you. Like I really had to kind of come to terms with like who I want in my life, and like you're one of those people. And she kind of took that in and said, same, and it's like Nathan staked his claim, like, okay, I hear you getting back with old dude or whatever, but you're at this point in my life, I only have room for certain people and certain energy, and you're one of those people, and you're that energy. And Issa essentially accepts and responds in kind. So even though we haven't
he literally says he says, I want certain types of people in your life, you're one of them, and I really appreciate you. And she responds, I appreciate you too. That is it. That was in my mind a like, I love you too. Like, I love you like a brother sister, because I'm ready for something different. I
think she hasn't figured it all the way out. I think that she has in Nathan somebody who she friend zoned for her own self-care, right? Because she did not really know what was going on. At the end of the day, he ghosted. When he ghosted, sis was sprung out, okay? She was going to his house, looking in his drawers for clues, like, going crazy. So she needed to sit him out for 6 months. In that time, he's checked in here and there, and in the recent months, they've been hanging out more. They've been hanging out more, and they've been vibing. We've only seen snippets of that, right? We haven't really seen them. So to me, it's hard to sort of give an equal comparison between Lawrence and Nathan and Lawrence.
I'm not giving an equal comparison. I'm giving my opinion. Right. I do not believe that Lawrence...
All right, let's move on. Basically, Nathan ain't got nothing on Lauren.
No, it's not.
That's it.
Okay, so just to summarize.
All right.
It's not necessarily about Nathan versus Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the chemistry, the mix of Issa and Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan, I believe, still has work to do in order to be in a space to be an equal partner in a relationship with Issa. I don't think that where Issa...
You don't think he's been doing that work?
No, I think that he's just
back?
become aware of how much work he has to do and has taken a couple of the first steps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he has done all of the work necessary. And again, I just don't think that their energy is long term. That's just me.
Yeah. I mean, definitely if Issa and Lawrence continue or kind of cement their situationship into a relationship, Nathan's going to have to go. At some point, Lawrence is going to be like, yeah, I'm not down. Yeah, especially because he has issues with her cheating. So he really, like, right now, she knows right now, Lawrence has no leg to stand on. He can't really tell her because he just kind of re-entered her space. Right. So, but yeah, and if she wants that to work, she's gonna have to figure that out. So Molly and Andrew issues, because when Issa and Nathan walked into Andrew's house to get some boxes there, it seemed like they were about to have it out.
Listen, Molly's particular issues affect everything she touches. And Andrew, being the closest person to her right now, sees all of it. And unfortunately, in at least one scenario, it affects him personally.
And I think he's getting fed up because he feels like she's not trying. And I think that is mirrored in how Issa feels like, I can't be the only one out here ready to step out on a limb for you. And that's my issue with Molly's uncompromisingness. I know I just made that word up.
For a long time, I was like, Andrew's like the perfect person for her because he's, I keep using this word, soft firm.
A soft firm, yeah.
He's like, I'm not actually going to back down on this point, but I'm going to give it to you softly so you'll receive it.
Right.
But this is actually how I believe. And for a good portion of the well, actually towards the middle of the season, she received some of those messages. And now, when it comes to one of her grudges, the uncompromising nature kicks back in. And he's like, it's becoming one of the unacceptable points, right? Like, if it affects everybody else, I'll just, like, rock with you. I'm on your side. But guess what? When it comes to my brother, you're going to have to figure it out and get over it. Like,
yeah, that's my brother. And at the end, and here's the thing, at the beginning of their relationship, she requested of Andrew to open up, right? That's what she wanted. Right. She wanted him to share his life with her. And as soon as it got uncomfortable, she's out, and she doesn't want to deal with that part of him. All. Yeah, she doesn't want to participate in that part of his life at all. And people don't come, by themselves. They come with their family, with their friends, and you have to deal with it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of push through that. Towards the end of the episode, we see Molly, Andrew, Issa, and Nathan chilling as a foursome, having a game night. Molly is sort of shadily going along with this, with Andrew's encouragement. He's literally nudging her to... over and over again. He did it at least 4 or 5 times. Like, he looks at her, he touches her. He's like, keep it going. Like, stop being shady. Like,
dude, should I get another bottle? Okay, I'll get another bottle.
Yeah. And then when Andrew gets up to get more wine, Molly she accidentally texts Issa instead of Andrew to say, like, see, look, I'm trying. And Issa walks out in an emotional
space. Pie in her face. Like, what's she supposed to feel? Like,
yeah, I would feel
I thought we were having a good time now.
Because you could see Issa really felt like the brunch that her and Molly had, even though they didn't delve into the issues, she felt that the bond was still there, and that I think Issa felt like, we will get there. Like, okay, Molly didn't bring up the issues, I'm willing to move on from it, right? And so I think she thought, like, yeah, eventually Molly will come around and she'll talk about it when she's ready to, but we'll be back to our normal selves in the meantime.
I mean, but you have to acknowledge that is,
it's like a childish
ideal
way
childish
to look at it.
Thinking. You can't just get past issues that deep in a relationship that heavy without addressing it directly.
Yeah.
And she was like, let's just brush it under the rug. And then Molly's begrudgingly
I think
along.
Issa just doesn't have the time to sit and deal with Molly's sort of anger, or really Molly's miserableness, because that's actually like that's Issa's ongoing issue. Like, Molly doesn't want to be happy, or that's what she kind of believes. And so even in her, I think, processing Molly's kind of resistance, she's like, that's just Molly being miserable Molly.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll eventually come around. But I don't have, like, Issa
the emotional
new
space
Issa
to
is like,
hold
I
on
don't
to
have
that.
the emotional space because I haven't talked with you about it yet. But I'm back together with Lawrence. I'm kind of freaking out. Like, this shit is like, whoa. I'm back. I'm entertaining Nathan as a friend. What do I do with this? I've got all this new stuff. I'm working for myself. Like, there's all these things that she wants to talk to Molly about, but she can't right now.
She had a self-reflective moment, though, when she was going to call her the first time, and, she ran through the scenario, and she realized, I can't just be, it can't just be all about me.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that is self-reflecting.
Right.
And acknowledgement on her part that maybe I have not been receiving her side of her pain, of her experience, of her issues positively because of all the crap that I've been going through.
Right.
What's unfortunately not reciprocated is that from Molly.
Yeah.
Molly's like, I'm going through stuff, and she's felt this, as I said before, she felt the whole season long, like, you keep disappointing me. I keep trying to download and give you, who I am. But the evolution of Issa is that I'm not really an emotional dumpster. I can't just let you download all your pain into me all the time. At some point you got to tell me what's positive. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
At some point you have to let some stuff go. And I think that if you've ever had a friend who holds on to grudges, they can be some of the most exhausting people because they don't know how to let stuff go. And because they literally sit in a space where this person has wronged me and therefore I'm right to feel this way.
Right.
That they don't realize how exhausting it is to be around them.
Their emotional truth becomes fact.
Because they're just like, this person is wrong and therefore I'm right and therefore, like, I'm okay to feel upset about it. It's like, yeah, but for how long?
Right.
Like, how long do I have to listen to you talk about this stuff again and again? Like, you're still not ready to just either give the person another chance. Because if you're still so upset about whatever this issue is, like, either let them go forever and let's stop talking about it, right? Or, like, deal with it. Right. But just sitting in this space
and waiting for this apology, which is where Molly is. Like, just sitting and waiting for this, like, hat in hand apology. Yeah. Oh, my goodness, I'm so sorry. You're the best. I should have never wronged you. Yeah. What can I do to make you feel better?
Yeah.
Nah.
And Issa could definitely still say, I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, she did the reaching out. And so Molly has to even if Molly opened up the conversation and said, I'm sorry for the part that I played, but let me tell you all of these things that I felt wronged by you on. And, I think Issa would have been like, wow, now that I hear it, sometimes you need somebody to hold a mirror up to you. And I think Issa would have been like, now that I see it, you know what? I'm so sorry for all these things. I didn't mean it like that, but I had all this stuff going on. But you can't just you can't hold the grudge, lash out at me, try to fight me, call me names, and then expect me to be the first to apologize. You can't have it all. You can't.
I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. My point is that in the diner scene, if Issa's the one to say, "Hey, can we talk?" In my mind, it is on Issa to at least say, "Can we talk about this particular issue?" Don't do old Issa where you beat around the bush and be awkward and joke through it. Be direct. Yeah. Step to it directly. Even if you're not coming with an apology, just say, let's talk about it. Let's put it on the table, right? Because in my mind, it's a direct correlation to what Lawrence did. Lawrence, he had something to say. He needed to have the conversation. He sat down and he said, all right, listen, this is what it is. And guess what? Issa at that point was like, all right, we done ordered. Tell me what it is. So if you're comfortable just putting it on the table, forcing the issue out in the open, of course you didn't know what it was then, so it was less traumatic.
Yeah, because he sort of half started a conversation.
Exactly. So in that point, like, okay, it was up to Lawrence to have said it. He should have said it. She shouldn't have had to have dragged it out of him. Exactly. The beginning. She shouldn't have had to have dragged it out of him, but she did. So it would be on Issa this time around to come with it. At least to put it on the table. I'm not talking about an apology. Open the conversation. You told me to come here. Let's just open it up.
I mean, okay, fine. Anytime that I've ever had an issue and I'm like, I'm ready to talk, because I'm the kind of person who is like, I'm going to take my space and exit stage left and remove myself. But after a certain point, I'm also going to reach out and just be like, okay, at this point, I've let go. I've released a lot of my anger about the situation. Now I'm going to call you and I'm ready to listen. So at the point where I've called you, it's up to you to say, because my thing is like, okay, so what? Like, what happened? Because, like, why if you're the most mad, then it's up to you to say, like, why you were so mad.
So are you asking...
I feel like...
why are you mad? Like, are you broaching the topic, though?
By me inviting you out or calling first or whatever, that's me saying the floor is yours. Say why you were so mad. Because your anger about the situation caused this big blow up and kerfuffle and, like almost came to us going to blow. So I feel like the person with the most intense emotions, and I feel like Issa was mostly unaware of the issues. Like, she knew they weren't like vibing, but it wasn't like sitting with her the way it was for Molly. Like, every time Issa kind of walked in and kind of put her foot in her mouth again, she wasn't aware of that every time.
I guess my only point is that
I think it's up to Molly. I do.
I'm not saying that it's not. Basically, my point is that if you're going to attack the problem, if you're going to try and heal the problem, you have to do it fully directly, because at this point, everybody has like this natural instinct to avoid. Okay. And so it's actually on both people to try and come as directly as possible. And in that scenario, because Issa invited her out, but immediately every question she asked was sort of like, and Molly was waiting for the right question. She was really waiting for an apology.
Yeah, she was not waiting for a question. She was waiting for an apology. She was waiting for an apology. Issa was keeping the conversation going. I think we can kind of agree to disagree. We know where we both stand on this. So with that, our last question. But if you want to say something else, Molly backs off. In the final scene, Molly kind of backs off the friendship and says to Issa, maybe who you are right now and who I am right now are not vibing, and we just
don't fit
anymore. Issa seemed shocked and saddened by it. Molly seemed almost upset when Issa said there's nothing else left to say. Molly is always waiting for the grovel. And that in turn is like my major issue with true. Molly. Because you're the one who dropped the bomb. Wanted her to say, you basically say we're not friends anymore. Who does that? No, if that's not what you want,
that's how she was with Andrew at the beginning of the season. You know, like, he needs to do better. He needs to do better. And never actually said out loud, I want you to do more. And it wasn't until she actually broached the topic in a begrudging way and was just like, you got to open up a little bit. He was like, fine, okay, I'll open up. But in this scenario, she's just like, we don't fit. You haven't apologized, basically. I don't know what else
it's not
I
like
can
she
do.
apologized for talking about Issa basically in her face, with the text, like, outside of saying you weren't supposed to see that. Duh. Of course I wasn't supposed to get that text
She
message.
wasn't sorry.
But, yeah, you're right. She wasn't sorry. But I don't know.
I think she's written off Issa already. Like, in her mind, she's already written off Issa. And she's probably got a checklist of things Issa has to do in order to get back in her good graces. And so everything the place that she's coming from emotionally is like, I knew this. You weren't a good friend anyway. I was ready to call it a day anyway. You got to change my mind anyway.
I've been fed up.
Right.
Like, I've always been there for you. You're not there for me when I need you. And, I'm done. Or I think she's like, maybe I need to be done. Or like, I'm done, ? And Issa's like, whoa, I'm done, period? Okay. No, because words are power. It's like, there's certain triggers that you don't pull in relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, whatever. And when you lay certain things out there, like the possibility of this being really over, it's very hard to take it off the table. And once it's on there, it's almost as good as you saying it. Like, once it's out there, it's like, okay, well, that's what you think. What can I do with that? Like, you've just said, we don't fit. Okay, that's how you feel? Then I guess we don't fit. Because you don't want us to fit. So what can I do? I'm not going to fight a sinking ship.
No, it's not that she doesn't want them to fit. She just wants it to fit in her way.
She wants Issa to prove, like, tell me why this is going to work. Tell me how you can be better, Issa, for this friendship.
Right.
And it can't, like, that, no. It takes two. And Molly really has to look at herself and figure out, like, why can't she be a good friend to new Issa? Because I think Molly is like, I'm the champion of best friends to old Issa. But this new Issa, it's like she doesn't even want to deal with her at all.
Right.
And that is problematic. If you don't see my growth and accept it, like, then
we gotta move on.
I mean, I can't exist in your life, like, because you can't be reminding me of old stuff when I'm new me. Like, nobody wants that.
But if you are honest about it, that's exactly how Molly felt in the beginning of the season. All Issa was doing was reminding her of old self, and she was trying to be new.
You didn't have to say that, but you're kind of right. You're right. So next episode is episode 10. It's the finale. What are your predictions on relationships? Give me like a yay or nay. Issa and
Nathan. Nathan gonna put her in a choose me or choose him scenario.
Pick me, choose me.
I think that's evident based on the trailer. She's gonna be like, nah, son, unless we get a Lawrence is moving to San Francisco.
That's update. What I think too. I feel like if Lawrence gets the job, which he probably will, I think it's going to.
But I don't even. I think that's going to be like, okay, maybe we'll figure it out. They're going to leave it sort of like in the air because it's been in the air. It's been in the air, and neither of them seems super
worried about
it. So I don't know if that's going to be, if he moves to San Francisco, if that's going to be too much of an issue. Nathan, throwing his bows and trying to get in the dough. Keep his foot in the dough. That's going to do something. But I don't think that is going to be the big conflict of next episode. I think the big conflict is potentially going to be something that brings everybody together, which is trauma.
Trauma?
Trauma.
Okay. I think that Molly and Andrew are going to continue to deteriorate or whatever. Like, I just think like they haven't, I think Andrew seeing a second kind of blow up between Issa and Molly, I think right now it's personal to him.
Yeah, he's going to force the issue with his brother.
He's seen how, you know, kind of how he can support her and be there for Molly, and it still doesn't encourage her to do more, to try more. And so I think it's actually going to be kind of a sticking point for him. I'm not saying that they're going to break up, but I think he's going to be looking like, you're putting me between a rock and a hard place, and I don't really know how we move forward from here. I think
he's going to state his needs, and she's going to be like, I don't want to meet them. And he's going to be like,
well, she's in therapy now, right? So Molly actually does have the support to deal with kind of a major decision. And so I think he's probably going to make her choose. But she's going to have the support of the therapist, because I think she's dealing with Issa, she's dealing with her relationship, and they're both hard. So I think she's going to lean heavily on therapy. Issa and Nathan, I think Issa's going to try to continue their friendship, because right now she needs a friend, and he makes her feel good, and I think he makes her feel needed in a way that she hasn't been able to kind of be someone who supports the needy friend, because that was always her. And so I think she's not ready to give up the Nathan friendship.
I think if he forces the issue,
because
though,
she's been upfront. And so when you're upfront, I think a lot of times women do this when we friend zone a man. Like, when we're upfront and we're like, I'm doing this thing over here, so I can't do this with you. We do try. I think we try to keep the relationship. And right now, Lawrence is not pressing her about Nathan. When Lawrence starts pressing her about Nathan, and when Nathan puts her in a tricky situation where she does have to choose.
Exactly. I think Lawrence...
think that's going to be interesting. Because I think she wants to choose Lawrence. But I think if either Condola... I don't know.
Condola ain't coming back. If Nathan...
So it's just the job.
It's just the job. We ain't got time for Condola to come back.
Ain't nobody trying to do long distance.
But no, listen. We got a whole another season to deal with long distance.
They can't quarantine in long distance.
At the end of the day, if Nathan puts her in a bind, Nathan's going bye-bye. Because Issa, in her mind, is like, I am not about to go down this dumb road again.
That's true.
Right? Like, I'm not about to do a Nathan again, like playing two sides of the coin, trying to figure it out.
But what if Nathan says, I love you, and Lawrence still hasn't said it?
They were together for 5 years. I don't think that he needs to say, I love you.
Yes, he does.
In order for...
Yes, he does.
No. Let me finish.
This is the end of the episode. We're supposed to be winding
down.
I know,
but you don't open the Pandora's box.
Oh my gosh. How fun, y'all. This is the longest episode I've ever recorded. All right.
We'll cut it down.
Y'all can do, hopefully you watch on 1.5 or something like that.
Gotta get up to that 1.75. My point is that Issa's not right now willing to risk things. She put it out there up front in this episode. I'm trying to make it work. That was to say, nah, don't come over this way with that. He's going to try, and she's it's either we ain't gonna be friends at all, or he just says it just because I just gotta say it. But there isn't gonna be a Issa and Nathan. That's just my prediction.
Oh, so you think that Nathan could say to Issa, like, I just need to be real. I'm not trying to I'm not asking you to choose.
I think he's going to try to make her choose, which my belief is why they ain't going to be friends at the end of that episode. She's going to choose, and it's going to be Lawrence. And maybe then the cliffhanger is Lawrence going to be like, oh, you chose me? Oh, well, I'm going to San Francisco.
Oh, I really hope you're not right, but that sounds kind of good, though. Yikes. All right, guys. Well... Thanks for listening. This was another episode of Swim Good Podcast. A very fun and different and vibrant episode. Thank you to my co-host E for chiming in and giving us the male perspective of all of this. y'all, next week, what is we gonna do without Insecure? Okay, I don't know what to do, but we'll get through it together. So I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. All right, this is Danni with the Swim Good Podcast, and again, I'm out.